Brussels is reeling from a political earthquake that has sent shockwaves through the corridors of power and the public alike. Explosive allegations of financial misconduct have surfaced against Federica Mogherini, the EU's former top diplomat, a figure once celebrated for her leadership and diplomatic finesse. Mogherini, who was the face of EU foreign policy for years, now finds herself at the center of a formal investigation by the European Public Prosecutor's Office, known as EPO. She faces serious accusations, including procurement fraud, corruption, and conflict of interest, all of which threaten to overshadow her legacy. The scandal has deeply shaken confidence in the EU's commitment to transparency and accountability, raising uncomfortable questions about oversight at the highest levels. 2 other senior officials are also under investigation, suggesting that the alleged wrongdoing may extend far beyond a single individual and could point to a broader systemic problem within the institution. At the heart of the investigation are contracts for training programs designed to prepare the next generation of European diplomats, initiatives considered vital for the EU's foreign service and international influence. The idea that funds earmarked for nurturing Europe's future leaders may have been misused has sparked outrage among citizens, activists, and political observers, fueling debates about ethics in public office. In response, authorities have launched coordinated raids and detentions in both Brussels and Bruges, intensifying scrutiny and signaling a zero-tolerance approach to corruption. Although the accused have been released pending further investigation, the process is far from over. The stakes remain incredibly high, with careers, reputations, and the EU's credibility hanging in the balance. This unfolding case is widely seen as a defining test for the EU's ability to police itself and uphold the principles it claims to champion. Across Europe, the public is watching closely, demanding not just answers, but real accountability from those in power, and calling for reforms to prevent future abuses. The outcome of this investigation will not only determine the fate of those accused, but will also shape how citizens and the world perceive the integrity of the European project for years to come. Federica Mogherini's career has long stood as a symbol of European diplomacy and ambition. Her journey through the corridors of power in Brussels has been marked by both high-profile achievements and complex challenges, reflecting the evolving nature of the European Union itself. Rising from Italy's foreign minister to the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs, she shaped policy on the world stage from 2014 to 2019. During this period, Mogherini was at the forefront of responding to global crises, representing the EU in delicate negotiations and forging alliances that would influence international relations for years to come. As Vice President of the European Commission, she played a key role in major negotiations, including the landmark Iran nuclear deal. Her diplomatic skills were widely praised, and she became known for her ability to bring together leaders with differing interests to find common ground. After her EU tenure, Mogherini transitioned to academia, becoming rector of the College of Europe, a prestigious institution dedicated to training future EU officials. In this role, she inspired a new generation, sharing her experience and insights with students from across the continent. This academic post seemed a natural extension of her diplomatic legacy, allowing her to continue shaping Europe's future from a different vantage point. Her leadership at the college was seen as a bridge between policy and education. Now, however, her time at the college is under investigation, linking her educational leadership to alleged financial misconduct. The inquiry has raised difficult questions about transparency and governance within even the most respected European institutions. The allegations have cast a shadow over a career once seen as a model of European ideals. For many, the news is both shocking and deeply unsettling, challenging assumptions about integrity at the highest levels. The news has stunned Brussels, where Mogherini was widely respected. Journalists, officials, and citizens alike are now watching closely as the investigation unfolds, wondering what it will mean for the EU's reputation. Her journey from EU power broker to the center of a criminal probe is a dramatic turn for European politics, highlighting how quickly fortunes can change in the world of international affairs. The case raises urgent questions about oversight and ethics at the heart of the EU, and serves as a reminder that even the most celebrated careers are not immune to scrutiny and controversy.
The EPO, launched in 2021, is the EU's independent body for prosecuting crimes against its financial interests. Before the EPO, national authorities struggled to tackle cross-border fraud, leaving gaps in enforcement. The EPO investigates and prosecutes offenses like VAT fraud, corruption, and misuse of EU funds, operating across member states. Its structure ensures independence from EU institutions and national governments, with prosecutors from each participating country.
The Mogherini case is the EPO's most high-profile test yet, signaling that even the most senior officials are not above the law. The outcome will set a precedent for how the EU handles corruption at the top.
Mogherini and her co-accused are now at the center of a high-profile legal battle, facing 4 major charges that have sent shockwaves through the European Union. These charges are procurement fraud, corruption, conflict of interest, and violation of professional secrecy. Each of these allegations carries significant weight, not only for the individuals involved, but also for the reputation of the EU as a whole. Procurement fraud, for instance, suggests a deliberate manipulation of contract awards, potentially steering lucrative deals toward favored parties in exchange for personal benefit or to advantage third parties. Corruption points to the abuse of official position, which could involve accepting bribes, kickbacks, or other illicit incentives in return for favorable treatment or decisions. The charge of conflict of interest alleges that personal relationships, undisclosed financial ties, or outside business interests may have improperly influenced official decisions, undermining the fairness of the process. Violation of professional secrecy implies that confidential or sensitive information was improperly disclosed, possibly to benefit certain bidders, or to give unfair advantage in the procurement process. If these charges are proven, they would represent not just isolated wrongdoing, but a coordinated effort to misuse public funds and betray the trust placed in EU officials by citizens and member states alike. The European Public Prosecutor's Office, or EPO, now faces the daunting task of gathering concrete evidence to substantiate these serious claims and build a compelling case. The complexity of the case lies in untangling a web of financial relationships, tracing the flow of money across borders, and identifying any hidden beneficiaries or shell companies. Investigators will scrutinize every aspect of the procurement process, from the initial tender documents to the final awarding of contracts, searching for irregularities or signs of collusion. These charges strike at the very core of the EU's commitment to impartial governance, transparency, and accountability. The stakes for institutional integrity could not be higher, as the outcome of this case will set a precedent for how the EU handles corruption and safeguards public trust in its institutions.
Mogherini isn't alone. 2 other senior figures are under investigation.
One is reportedly a high-ranking staff member at the College of Europe, suggesting possible internal collusion.
This individual's access to procurement and financial documents would have been crucial to the alleged scheme.
The third suspect is believed to be Stefano Sannino, Secretary General of the European External Action Service.
Sannino's involvement links the scandal directly to the EU's diplomatic corps.
Both Mogherini and Sannino are prominent Italians in Brussels, raising questions about overlapping networks of influence.
The investigation is probing whether their professional circles were exploited for personal gain. The alleged involvement of officials from both the college and the EES points to a sophisticated operation. The case is as much about networks of power as it is about financial crime. The outcome could reshape the landscape of EU governance.
The heart of the investigation is suspected fraud in EU-funded training for junior diplomats. The College of Europe, under Mogherini's leadership, received substantial EU funding for these programs. The allegations focus on rigged procurement, tenders possibly tailored to favor specific companies or individuals. Investigators are tracking financial flows and looking for evidence of kickbacks or collusion. If proven, the scheme would represent a betrayal of the EU's mission to foster meritocracy and integrity in its diplomatic corps. The funds were meant to invest in the next generation of European leaders, not to be siphoned off for private gain. The scandal threatens the credibility of the very institutions tasked with upholding EU values.
The investigation broke into public view with dramatic raids and detentions in early December 2025. Belgian authorities, acting on EPO orders, detained Mogherini and the other suspects, signaling the seriousness of the case. Raids targeted the EEA's headquarters in Brussels, and the College of Europe in Bruges, searching for crucial evidence.
Investigators also searched the suspects' homes, seeking digital records and financial documents. The suspects were released after questioning, as they were not considered flight risks.
Their release does not mean exoneration. The investigation is far from over. The legal process will be lengthy, with all three remaining under formal suspicion. The case is now in the hands of prosecutors, who must build a robust case from the evidence seized. The eyes of Europe are fixed on what comes next. The public and media must avoid rushing to judgment. Justice demands patience and fairness. Despite the gravity of the allegations, Mogherini and the others are presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. The EPO has emphasized this principle, and the burden of proof lies with the prosecution. The legal process will be thorough, with both sides presenting evidence and arguments before a Belgian court. This scandal is a critical test for the EU's credibility and its ability to police its own elite. Allegations at this level fuel public cynicism and challenge the EU's reputation for integrity.
The EPO's handling of the case will show whether the EU can enforce accountability at the highest levels. A transparent, successful prosecution would prove that no one is above the law.
Failure or perceived cover-up could deepen distrust and damage the EU's institutions. The College of Europe and the EES face reputational risks and calls for reform. The outcome will influence debates about the EU's future and its core values. In an era of rising populism, the EU must demonstrate real commitment to transparency and the rule of law. How the Mogherini case is resolved will be a defining moment for European governance. Justice and public trust hang in the balance.